Ethan Ramirez, a 38-year-old entrepreneur, had built his life over the last decade in the bustling city of Seattle. With his wife Isabella, 34, a successful marketing executive, they had cultivated a seemingly perfect life together, raising 2 young children, a boy and a girl. From the outside looking in, their life appeared flawless: successful careers, a happy marriage, and a picture-perfect family. Friends often marveled at how lucky they were, commenting on their strong relationship and how nothing could come between them. But over the past 6 months, Ethan had begun to notice subtle changes in Isabella's behavior. She had grown more distant, often lost in thought, and seemed to be attached to her phone more than usual. She'd talk about work events, late-night meetings, and the occasional girls' night out, things that Ethan didn't question at first. But then, there were the texts she never shared and the way she'd smile at her phone, a smile that seemed more secretive than before. It gnawed at Ethan, though he tried to push these thoughts aside. His friends reassured him that marriages go through phases, and the stress of work and children could make things feel distant sometimes. Still, when he lay awake at night, with Isabella sleeping peacefully beside him, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. The tipping point came when Isabella's boss, Luke, a 40-year-old tech CEO, invited them to an exclusive networking event at his luxurious downtown Seattle penthouse. Luke was the kind of man who radiated power and confidence, a slick, well-dressed executive with an ever-present smirk that never sat right with Ethan. He was successful, charming, and appeared to have the perfect life, much like Ethan. Yet, something about the way Luke interacted with Isabella made Ethan uncomfortable. The lingering touch on her shoulder, the too frequent gazes, they raised Ethan's suspicions. However, he tried to convince himself that Luke would never invite them to a party if he were having an affair with his wife. The night of the party, Ethan and Isabella arrived at Luke's penthouse, an opulent space with sweeping views of the Seattle skyline. The place was filled with well-dressed professionals, glasses of champagne in hand, and smooth jazz in the background. Isabella looked stunning in a sleek black dress, her makeup flawless, her smile radiant. Ethan was proud to have her by his side, but the nagging feeling of doubt was still there, lurking in the back of his mind. As the night wore on, Isabella mingled effortlessly, catching up with co-workers, including Luke, who was his usual charming self. Ethan kept a watchful eye on them but tried to shake his unease. An hour into the party, Isabella excused herself to catch up with a friend in a quieter part of the penthouse. Ethan, determined not to seem suspicious, nodded and let her go. But something inside him told him to follow her, to stay vigilant. Instead of following her immediately, Ethan distracted himself with a few guests. Yet, after 15 minutes, his curiosity got the best of him. He excused himself from the conversation and quietly slipped away from the crowded living room. He wandered through the halls of the sprawling penthouse until he stumbled upon a secluded back garden area, softly lit by garden lights. It was there that he overheard something that would change everything. Ethan froze as he recognized Luke's smooth, slightly tipsy voice and another voice that was unfamiliar. The conversation made his heart stop. "I don't know how she does it, man. Bella can slip out of her husband's arms and into mine like it's nothing. Last weekend was insane. We met up at that hotel near the waterfront. You wouldn't believe what happened." Ethan's stomach churned. He moved closer, careful not to make a sound, his heart pounding in his chest as he listened in disbelief. "Does her husband know anything? I mean, you're playing with fire here, man." "Nah," Luke responded confidently. "Ethan's too busy with his business to even notice. Besides, Isabella knows how to keep secrets. She's smarter than most women I've been with." Ethan's hands trembled as the words sank in. His worst fears were coming to life before his very ears. His wife, the woman he trusted above all else, was having an affair with her boss. The way Luke spoke about her, like just another conquest in a string of affairs, filled Ethan with a deep, burning rage. But he wasn't the type to confront things in the heat of the moment. No, he would be smarter than that. Ethan listened for as long as he could, gathering every detail he could. Their affair had been going on for nearly 6 months, involving secret hotel meetings, late-night phone calls, and business trips that were nothing more than excuses for their rendezvous. By the time Ethan quietly slipped away from the garden, he had enough information to confirm his worst fears. That night, Ethan returned home with Isabella, acting as if everything were normal. He smiled, laughed, and made small talk, all while his mind raced with thoughts of a plan. He wasn't going to confront her yet. No, he needed cold, hard proof. And he would get it. Over the next few days, Ethan became strategic and methodical. He installed tracking apps on Isabella's phone without her knowing, hacked into her email accounts, and even hired a private investigator. For the next 2 weeks, he gathered every shred of evidence he could: texts between Isabella and Luke, photos of them at hotels, phone records that confirmed everything he had overheard at the party. With each new piece of evidence, Ethan's heart broke a little more, but his resolve grew stronger. He wasn't just going to confront her. He was going to make sure that when the truth came to light, it would be unforgiving. A month later, Luke threw another event, an even bigger one, with more high-profile guests. Ethan knew it would be the perfect setting for his revenge. He arrived with Isabella, playing the part of the doting husband while she remained blissfully unaware of what was about to happen. Halfway through the night, Ethan excused himself, telling Isabella he was going to make a toast. She smiled at him, completely unaware of the storm that was brewing. As Ethan took the microphone, the room fell silent. All eyes were on him, and Isabella stood beside Luke, her smile faltering slightly as Ethan's gaze locked onto hers. "I'd like to make a toast to my incredible wife, Isabella," he began, his voice calm and measured. "For 10 years, we've shared our lives, built a family, and created memories I thought would last forever." The room was silent, the tension palpable. But sometimes, life surprises you. Sometimes, the people you trust the most turn out to have secrets they keep hidden. Isabella's face turned pale as she widened her eyes in shock. She took a step forward, but Ethan held up his hand, stopping her in her tracks. "And tonight, in front of all of you, I'd like to share one of those secrets." With a press of a button, the large projector screen behind him lit up, revealing images of Isabella and Luke. The room gasped as pictures of them sneaking into hotels, texts exchanged between them, and even audio recordings of their late-night calls filled the screen. Ethan had left no stone unturned. Isabella stood frozen, her face drained of color, while Luke attempted to make a quick exit. But the crowd had already turned against them. Ethan looked directly at the two of them, his voice calm but filled with finality. "In the end, secrets never stay hidden for long, and now everyone knows the truth." The fallout was swift and brutal. Within days, Ethan had filed for divorce, secured full custody of their children, and ensured that Luke's reputation was shattered. The affair became public knowledge, and Luke was forced to resign from his company amid the scandal. As for Isabella, she lost everything: her marriage, her standing in the community, and the trust of everyone around her. Ethan, on the other hand, found peace. He had rebuilt his life from the ashes of betrayal, stronger than ever. In the end, he learned that the best revenge wasn't just exposing the truth, it was reclaiming his own happiness.